Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. October marches steadily on, and we're going to continue our series on things that go bump in the night. There's something almost everybody has experienced. Perhaps everybody has. And it's those weird things that you just can't explain. You put something down in the same position you did 1,000 times before, and it's not there. You put something in a place that you cannot forget, and when you go there, it's missing. In the middle of the night, something you have drops off, even though you have no cats, children, or anything else that might be suspicious. This is actually a very powerful thread in mythology. The poltergeist, which we've briefly touched on, is one such explanation. But there's an idea that actual creatures, cryptids, supernatural creatures, are responsible for these things that go bump in the night, or that steal our objects. In Scandinavia, you have trolls. Now, in our post-J.R.R. Tolkien mythology, trolls mean something very different than they once did. But they're originally the prankster types. They would sneak in, they would mess with things, and get out. Goblins, again, J.R.R. Tolkien, he had such a huge impact on our mythology. They were believed to be tricksters as well. They would get in, they'd move stuff about, they'd do what they needed to just to catch your attention. And that's really the motive of a lot of these nature spirits. They're trying to let you know that they're there. Gremlins, even in the 21st century, pilots, ship captains, everybody kind of believes in gremlins. If you've had a computer running at all, you know there's such thing as gremlins. You fire up your machine, it loads a funny load screen or whatever it does that's crazy, unusual, weird, you just say, the gremlins are in here. Mind you, computers have become enough of a mystery, well, they always were, that saying your computer's on the fritz is an excuse for almost anything in the modern world. The point is, this phenomenon is so pervasive. It's multicultural. It does not discriminate. It goes everywhere that humanity goes. And it has names everywhere it goes. The Russians have a house spirit. Dormovik, I believe. Sorry, my Russian is not terribly good. And it's supposedly an old nature spirit that takes care of the house. And you're supposed to leave it an offering. See, the funny thing about spirits is that the nature spirits, the ones trying to get your attention, can easily be bribed, whereas a true ghost cannot really be bribed. They can be put to rest, but they can't be bribed. A gremlin, a dormovik, goblin, you can leave them all a little something, and they'll stop messing with you. Fairies, oh my, the mythology around them is endless. But when they're not abducting you, they're stealing stuff from you. And like I said, every single person on every single area of this planet, and I will be very interested that when Elon Musk gets his Mars base going, to see if this mythology transfers up there. But everybody has their experience of, I put it right here and I can't find it. You've gone through this with your kids, and it's easy for you to find, but your kid could look all day and never find whatever object it is they lost. Part of that is being an adult. Another interesting thing is we live on planet Earth. We're revolving about 1,000 miles per hour around the poles, roughly. We're moving through space. There's all sorts of energy fields being manifested in the atmosphere as cosmic rays, and the sun rays bounce into our atmosphere and create all sorts of weird electromechanical stuff. And that does have an impact. The Carrington event of the 1800s pretty much wiped out the telegraph system. And And while we haven't got anything as powerful, it shows that what happens on the sun affects us on Earth. It might actually be true that the sun is directly responsible for a lot of the paranormal activity that we get. But that's a suggestion for somebody else to research. I guess old Silverlight's getting a little too old and too bored to bother with a big analytical project like that. I prefer to stick with my little nonfiction books. We've all been there. Middle of the night, your perfectly arranged book cabinet, whatever it is, suddenly collapses out of nowhere. Again, 2021. It's a lot of particle board stuff. And particle board, okay, there's miniature earthquakes all the time. We don't feel them, but they happen. Electricity is all around us, and it can transmit. Electricity is an electromagnetic force. Radiation is an electromagnetic force. It's just that electricity that we use only propagates through the wires that we give it. If you introduce a fork to it, it will be happy to jump into your body. But it's been established over the past little bit that there have been electromagnetic fields created all around us from Wi-Fi, from various broadcasting systems. And while I don't subscribe to the more radical beliefs that it's supposed to change our DNA or it's supposed to somehow influence our behavior, I am willing to believe that it can influence actions. Once again, let's look at the poltergeist theory, that it's formed from latent energy in a place, be it psychic energy or electrical energy. Well, we've just made electromagnetic energy the most abundant resource on the planet, and it's not showing signs of slowing down anytime soon. So if it is a nature spirit, they're in paradise right now. They have so much energy, it's overflowing, and they're bored. They have nothing to do. They're like nothing better than to knock some stuff over just because they're hyperactive at the present time. That might be a very fine theory. Or perhaps supplicating them was the best idea. A little bit of a confession from old Silverlight here. I leave out a little bit of whiskey for the nature spirits. And it's just a little bit, but it's funny. It goes down a lot faster than evaporation. And when I leave beer out, it's never touched. So apparently the nature spirits in my house like whiskey. Maybe they're part of the family. I do have family that comes from Ireland and Scotland, and we all know some weird creatures come from there. It's just possible that they landed on this section of the family. So, what do you do if you have a continuing presence in your home where things go missing? Do the smart thing. Adopt a system. My mother was she still is a wonderful woman. And she literally beat into me, by which I don't mean actually beating me, but I mean physical punishment was on the table. And I was taught to organize my things from a very young age. And that's why I can wake up and be ready to go in seconds, whereas my sweet significant other runs around looking for her stuff. Nothing against her, but of the two of us, she loses stuff all the time, whereas I lose it pretty rarely. It does still happen. It does still happen. To me, just like everybody else in the world. The difference is I can rule out whether it was me being an idiot or whether it was something that I can't control. Because if you just take that effort and put all your stuff, get a little box, put it in. I have my cell phone in there where the charger is, my wallet, everything is all in one nice concentrated location. And it's a safe location. So I get up and I go. The gremlins, the nature spirits and all that, they could very well mess with it. And they have. And I mean on nights where I haven't been drinking. I wouldn't blame them. But it's interesting. No matter how organized you are, and this happens to my mother as well, as supremely organized as she is, she still gets visits from the gremlins. She'll never admit it. She'll just say, I've put it somewhere, I've moved it, or I've hidden it somewhere I know I can find, is her laughing joke about, yeah, I've hidden it somewhere so that only I can find it, and now I can't find it. But honestly, ask yourself, has this ever happened to you? And I would be surprised if anybody could say, no, this never happened to me. It's just so ubiquitous, so universal. You would have to be an unfeeling robot to be able to constantly locate every single thing that you ever had. Minus, of course, the stuff you threw out. That's neither here nor there. I'm talking the stuff that you value, the stuff that you keep. Like your identification, your keys, your credit cards, anything that you don't use on a daily basis. That's all charged with emotional energy. Your keys, you have them pretty much every day. Your wallet, pretty much every day. Even something that you consider important, like let's say a birth certificate or a driver's license. Whether you use it every day or not, it has an emotional attachment for you. And the nature spirits and the gremlins and the various spirit folk, they latch on to that energy because your emotional energy is also appealing to them. So, remember, it's not just humans on the planets. And I only say this after years of careful pondering. And I do, on occasion, see things out of the corner of my eye, things that move very quickly. And I've had a doctor look me over. I'm not insane. But, yeah, sometimes you see something moving out of the corner of your eye, and it's just their way of trying to get you to pay attention. Because that's what those spirits want. Just to be acknowledged and to be known as part of the family. Unless they really dislike you, in which case you won't be asking. You'll know. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And we hope you have a fantastic day.